Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another round of Modern Melee. In the booth, as usual, Marco and Ginkgo.
Hey!
Today, we have for you exciting matchup between Esper Food and something more
Mainstream.
Mainstream, thank you very much. I was going to say unexciting, but it's your boy Murktide.
Esper Food, a very notorious deck introduced quite recently by a famous streamer, Aspiring Spike. A great deck to play when you're playing online, and
not so great to miss all of your triggers in person.
Yeah, there are a lot of triggers with this deck. It's going to be interesting to see it in action in paper.
Yeah, and the one curiosity about the first time that we are seeing this is Turn 1 Urza Saga, which is not something that you see often because it will expire before you have the prerequisite 3 mana to make any construct. Yeah. Unless you have something like Emry into some weird sort of Springleaf Drum, and then you can make your construct on the third turn, but that's, no. On the other side, 2 islands, probably a counterspell, and 2 Mishra's Baubles in the graveyard, seeing all the cards needed. But we see just from the start, we get what we want here, and this is our discard card. This is the Underworld Cookbook that will let us loop Ovalchase Daredevils if we have some, and if not, it will just let us discard cards for Asmoranomardicadaistinaculdicar.
Wow.
Yeah, I will be saying this a lot probably. So this is Ovalchase Daredevil. It says whenever an artifact comes onto the battlefield under your control, return it to your hand. And food is an artifact coming in on the battlefield under your control. So this is not infinite because you cannot loop the cookbook, but this is null on cards spent for this food.
You can almost say it gives food for cookbook.
Yeah. And Emry being countered by a counterspell, that's fine. We have ways of recurring this Emry with Unearth and other things. Now, there's only one land from the Asmo Food side, but there is another one. We don't care about lands on this side of the board because we have food. No, but more pressingly, there are only 2 islands on the other side. So we see a lot of cards from the Murktide player, 1 counterspell again, but no third land.
And no red mana.
Yeah.
Most notably, no red mana. It's definitely a keep with 2 Mishra's Baubles. So quite unlucky.
Definitely. That's 5 or 6 cards looked at, and to have no food, no third land is quite unfortunate.
Okay, there is an Emry attempt that's counterspelled, and then for 1 red or black mana,
Asmoranomardicadaistinaculdicar
is being played. Yeah. So basically, if you discard a card this turn, you can play it for 1 mana. Otherwise, you can't play it. You can cascade into the card.
Yeah. But this is a poor cascader because we have rhinos to cascade into. Who would want to cascade into a 3/3?
Exactly.
If you can cascade into 2 4/4s. We see third land and red mana right on time or a little bit after time for the Murktide. It is not over, as it never is with Murktide, because if one deck can grind out and come from behind, that's Murktide.
That's definitely Murktide. So nothing being played by the Murktide player. Just passing the turn. He has in hand Darcy and Unholy Heat, from what I know.
Yeah, probably also Lightning Bolt or something else. But there is also
another Emry.
Yeah, any creature card that you play on the battlefield would probably get shot by Asmo. because there is 2 food and
Mm-hmm.
the ability to make 2 more,
Mm-hmm.
one with the cookbook in the play and one with the cookbook in hand. So this will be opt, okay, 4th land. The Emry is still on the stack. Maybe counterspell is coming. Maybe it is just, Emry came to play, and now the opponent has the choice of bolting the Emry or bolting the Asmo.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, as long as Asmo is in the play, no creature can survive on the other side.
Well, 8/8 Murktide can, I guess.
It is trivial to have several food just laying around.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't believe. I mean, the Murktide could survive for a turn, but the next turn there will be more than 2 food
Indeed.
on the battlefield,
Indeed.
and just nom nom gobbled up by Asmoranomardicadaistinaculdicar and shot the Murktide as you would shot a sheriff in the Bob Marley song.
For a glance, we saw a very handsome face for a moment there, but the game goes on. Now this is very scary since Emry is a very scary card that can power up the Asmo Food deck. So it's dead.
Yeah, 8 is dead as it should be. The removal for Asmoranomardicadaistinaculdicar will come next or later. We do not. We can take 3 several turns in a row, but this deck, the Asmo Food deck, does not win via combat damage. So abundance of Murktides just flying around as they should because they have flying from the Murktide side. But honestly, do you play the Murktide here? I know, and this is a legit question because it will get shot. But if you make it at least a 7/7, which you can with this graveyard, the opponent needs to spend 4 food.
Which is fine, I think. For that's the biggest threat the Murktide has. Game 1. If you get rid of it, you have the upper hand. I would bait out the foods with some other creatures. Perhaps I'm wrong. I'm not a Murktide player, so you have more experience with this. What would you do?
So, on the Murktide side, the removal was forced up until this point because you need to kill Emry, you need to counter Emry, and if you don't, it will brew your card advantage just like this. But also, if you let Asmo live, then you will have a hard time sticking your creatures on the board. And I do believe that we will just be making a force food, shooting the Murktide down, and you are not really, so you are not really so as concerned about your life total as one might do, because you can take 3 several times, and sure, the discard is great, but we see Time Sieve here. Time Sieve is a pesky artifact that says sacrifice 5 artifacts, take an extra turn after this one. Guess what? Foods are artifacts. You can sacrifice all of them and, profit.
Yeah, exactly. So this is one of the combo cards that this deck revolves around. So let's see how the food player plays this out.
So Ledger Shredder into Connive into Lightning Bolt on Asmo. So this is fine because the most scary thing on this board now is the Time Sieve, not the Asmo. Asmo is fine. Actually, the most important card on this battlefield now is the Underworld Cookbook.
Exactly.
Because once the Underworld Cookbook starts going, for example, with the Academy Manufactor, it gets you 3 artifacts per activation. So if you have an Academy Manufactor and 2 cookbooks, or another way of getting 2 artifacts into play with Emry or whatever, you are taking infinite turns.
Exactly. So with 2 Underworld Cookbooks, discarding the black card called
the Ovalchase Daredevil.
Exactly. You can loop turns because with 2 cookbooks you produce, and Academy Manufacture, you produce 6 artifacts per turn.
Yeah. The same goes with several cookbooks and let's say 4 cookbooks in Emry, or there is a plethora of ways that you can get 5 artifacts in a turn, or even you can just take 3 extra turns after one another and not go infinite.
Yeah.
And 3 extra turns is a lot of extra turns in a game of Magic the Gathering. Because, well, your opponent doesn't get to take them.
Exactly. And you play a game of Magic by yourself.
Yeah.
You don't have to think what your opponent is going to do.
Here is an extremely powerful card, Expressive Iteration, that will probably get 2 for 1. Yeah, land into exile, card into hand, and 1 on the bottom of the library, and the land will get played. This is the second red mana for a kill spell if they need it, but there is nothing still on the battlefield to kill. So, scary thing from the food side is that they can go off from an empty board.
Yes.
There is this pesky cookbook that is making some artifacts that are innocuous at first, but the moment Academy Manufactor or any other piece hits the battlefield, just red alert for the combo. Or if it isn't the infinite combo of 5 artifacts or plus per turn, then it's just a raw amount of material that can produce, as I said, 3, 4 extra turns, one after another. And in those 3, 4, 5, 10 draw steps, you will find what you need.
Usually that is Urza Saga. You will play Ovalchase Daredevil, Hardcast on the board, and back with it. There are a lot of things that you can actually do. And we see some discussion between the players. About
Ledger Shredder, conniving or not. I do believe this was the first spell.
And this is the second spell. So now the connive should happen.
Yeah, before connive, of course, delve, then connive. And a little bit consideration about the DRC. Keeping Delirium or not, exiling all of the instants and sorceries from a graveyard or not. And this will be a 5/5 Murktide. In the end, there will be draw a card from an artifact and make another food from the cookbook, return your Ovalchase Daredevil to your hand, and continue on with your turn.
Of course, the Murktide player did forget about the second spell.
Yeah, this is a trigger and this is a mistrigger, but we are playing at casual Ariel, so those triggers are okay to miss sometimes. They are not game-breaking or game-losing triggers. And
Academy Manufactor.
Academy Manufactor. This card. Get yourself 3 artifacts, a food, a clue, and a treasure token. And now, all of a sudden, we have a lot of material on the board. Not only this, but if we have anything else, we can take an extra turn after this one. And if not, 5, 6, 7, 8, this is a hard one because this is 4 artifacts, another one needs to be sacked, will be the cookbook or the actual Time Sieve. We will see. Yeah, the fifth one is the Time Sieve itself.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Asmo player says, I am dead on board, I need to do something, let me take an extra turn after this one, I need to get something done. And there is, maybe, I do believe I see 2 Ovalchase Daredevils, I see maybe another Time Sieve, but this is a hard turn. So this is the stuff between losing and winning, because the pieces for infinite turns are here somewhere. Now, step 1, food, clue, and treasure.
That's a great start.
Yeah, you need as much material as you can get on your board. Step 2, shock it in, you're dead anyways. Yes, maybe. Yep. Shock it in, you are dead anyways. So, yeah, there is another Time Sieve, and we will see if this produces the win needed.
The win condition. Notably, if he can take an extra turn, this one, Urza Saga triggers next turn, and
Yeah.
he can find another cookbook and he can go
That's
infinite.
it, yeah. This is a new
Tainted
card.
Indulgence. Is that Tainted?
Yes, that's Tainted Indulgence, which reads, draw 2, discard 1 in this deck, because there is a slim chance that there will be 5 different mana values of cards in the graveyard, but this is exactly what you need. You want card material in your hand, and you also want to discard some cards for Asmoranomardicadaistinaculdicar. And here we see Unearthing. This is great. So the Tainted Indulgence draw Unearth. Unearth your Asmo. Asmo
Finds
get cookbook from the treasure that you got from the Academy Manufactor. Tap the other cookbook for 3 more artifacts. Now you have 2 more artifacts to play with. So 5 on your battlefield, but you don't have enough mana for the Time Sieve. But you can kill the Murktide and hopefully be alive.
Yeah, there is no lethal on the board if the Murktide is dead.
Oh yeah. The cookbook entered the battlefield. There is the Ovalchase Daredevil. There is 3 more. Oh, so there is 2 more
mana for Time Sieve, but then you don't have. Well, you have 5 artifacts, but you don't. I don't know what's happening here.
So 2 mana for Time Sieve. There is
4 artifacts plus 1 cookbook, and then you find. Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, this is it. So the next turn, you sacrifice 1 cookbook here. The next turn, the saga triggers. You go get another cookbook. You have 2 cookbooks
with Time
Academy
Sieve
Manufactor and Time Sieve, and you go infinite.
Exactly. This is what we mentioned.
Yeah, this is extremely complicated, but this is the second and the third turn that we talked about, and this is the exact amount of turns needed to win the game. So untap here, doesn't matter, we lost the cookbook, draw, trigger the saga, float mana, trigger the saga, just get your stuff together, and then we will talk about winning like in 17 turns, doesn't matter with what. Get yourself another cookbook, get as many artifacts on the battlefield as you can, and just take infinite turns. Oh,
wow.
Springleaf Drum?
Well, I assume they
must have drawn the cookbook. Hopefully. Yeah. There's 1 mana floating from the Urza Saga still. Now...
Maybe they have Emry? But Emry is too slow.
I mean... Discard, get 3, draw. Is this the 4? Did they go through all 4 of the cookbooks? Maybe discarded 1 with the Emry and the beginning, and the 2 were sacrificed to the Time Sieve.
That's so
bad. Might be, yeah. Might be what actually happened. So there's only 1 cookbook to play with.
Yeah.
Still, this suddenly became a lot harder. There is Otawara, Soaring City in the hand. We will get rid of probably Murktide. Yeah. Okay. So we're still playing. We still have 1 mana floating from... No, the...
Yeah,
it was no. It was for the Shadow Spear.
Oh, right.
Okay. So we are sacrificing Springleaf Drum and the Shadow Spear together with the 3 artifacts to take another turn after this one.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, he's beating down.
They're at 7. Now they're at 4. If they can produce, they can. They just tap the cookbook, sacrifice the cookbook and the Time Sieve together with the 3 artifacts, take another turn after this one. They have 4 damage on the board.
Yeah.
Oh god, this is so complicated. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that should be enough.
Sacrifice everything but the creatures, but doesn't matter. We have 3 damage or 4 damage on the board and you are tapped out.
Okay, that's a win. A bit more complicated than the one that we figured, but you can beat them down.
Wait, it's still going on. What? What is going on? What? Oh god, this is.
It's a bit nerve-wracking.
I mean, somebody is dead anyways. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, you just sack the Academy Manufactor. Doesn't matter. You sack the food, but doesn't matter. You sack Academy Manufactor. Attack with Asmo. Following turn for 3. The opponent is dead. Okay, we got there.
We got there in the end. But it was a great match to showcase how difficult, how scrappy, how annoying, and can it be to play the Asmo food deck in paper.
And how many decisions you need to go through just to get to
For sure. But that's true for both paper and online.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But in paper, you can see how many triggers, how many tokens, how many artifacts you need to manage and keep in your mind while you play. So it's definitely not easy.
So there's a lot of moving parts, but all of those parts coalesce around the same idea. So there's artifact synergies and discard synergies, and both of those things just feed into one into each other. And
it's an interesting deck. It's a difficult deck. You know what's my problem with this deck? It's not flashy.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not flashy.
Just bland.
It's I'm gonna grind you.
Yeah.
You're gonna be annoyed. And
I'm gonna
it's not going to be over soon.
Yeah, no, but this deck is excellent for bringing once a month to your meta game. Because if you encounter a player who either knows how to play against this deck, or knows how to, or just has the right sideboard cards, you're in a whole world of trouble. Because your creatures, you're not winning with your creatures. Your creatures are Asmoranomardicadaistinaculdicar, which is a great creature, but it is only a 3/3, which pains me to say in today's modern that a 0 mana 3/3 is only not good enough.
Yeah, it's a crazy time we play Magic.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so much that the body is not big enough. It's that there is so much and so efficient removal that you just get it dead.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that, and if you know how to play against this deck, and the key for playing against this deck is twofold. Either deny them their Underworld Cookbooks, which seems so innocuous, but it is the engine of the deck. Or 2, deny them just artifacts. So Stonely Silence, or Prismatic Endings, or Pitting Needle, all great tools against this deck.
And there is not much that this deck can do to respond to those things.
I mean, 4 Prismatic Endings in the sideboard, plus March of Otherworldly Lights and Teferis, probably, but...
Well, the stock list for this deck is Dimir, so there is no white.
Oh, there are actually, the stock list plays 3 white lands in the main, no white cards in the main, but all of the white cards are in the sideboard. And those are, I do believe, 4 Prismatic Endings, 2 March of Otherworldly Light, and 1 or 2 Teferi Time Travelers.
Well, I might be misremembering, but I remember the original as being the mirror and
Yeah.
later being introduced into white mana. But it definitely introduced white mana for this sole reason.
Yeah.
It couldn't respond to things like Stony Silence.
Definitely.
Or Rest in Peace.
There is also the ability and urge or need to get this deck into red, because with red you get efficient discard, efficient draw, and all the other artifact synergies that you can imagine with the red being the artifact color. But red also does not answer enough stuff to merit this play. So if you want to have the best sideboard options, you go into white.
You're going to white, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially, this deck might come into some problems with enchantments, particularly.
Yeah. So definitely Stony Silence and other stuff. Even Rest in Peace to an extent. Although it can grind through Rest in Peace, but we have seen the Ovalchase Daredevil loop being especially great by just the virtue of coming back. And there are Unearths and Emry and everything else, which it does not rely on its graveyard 100%, but it's definitely
it wants to play
tool.
with it. Yeah, it wants to play with the graveyard. So white is definitely a great addition. What do you think about Leyline Binding in this deck? Is it possible? Is it good?
Leyline Binding against or in this deck?
In this deck.
I wouldn't say no. Because this deck, as you said, it's mainly two colors. Splashing for a third and splashing only sideboard colors for a third. So I would not recommend having Leyline Bindings, because it would be just maybe a little bit better Oblivion Ring.
Okay.
And a little bit better Oblivion Ring is a little not too good.
Especially in Modern.
Yeah.
But okay, going back to game, we have a very developed board. We got sidetracked, as we usually do, but it is what we do. We see a very, very nice board from the Esper Food player going for the construct
play this time, yes.
construct line.
This is the second option that you can take, and this is just lean into your Urza Saga, especially if you see your opponents holding up counter spells. They need to answer your construct, because they will be 10/10s or bigger.
Yeah.
They will outgrow everything on the other side, because you are an artifact deck. But they need to respect that. But also this mitigates their counter spells and has a line of attack that is different from the main goal, which is also something that this deck is good at. So we will... Archmage's Charm, steal something.
Steal, I get... We have a trigger.
Have a trigger. Let's go resolve the DRC trigger. Put it on top.
Okay.
And
stealing the cookbook. Very, very wise. This handsome man.
Stealing the cookbook, getting beaten down but in increments of 4, but the cookbook is done. And here is Emry. This is
another
also
cookbook?
Yeah, this is a card that warrants a removal spell immediately,
definitely. And if I'm not mistaken, there is a lightning bolt in hand that should be used on Emry. By this handsome man.
Also, there is engineered explosives. So engineered explosives on 0 gets us a kaboom. In response, crack that bubble. Crack that bubble. In response, you will lose a lot, but that's fine. There is also the Relic of Progenitus going into the graveyard from the Surveil trigger. Also a helpful tool in this matchup, as we discussed, but still, Emry on the battlefield, let's get it dead.
And it's dead.
Emry dead. Surveil trigger. Keep the pressure. But as we said, and as we have seen in game 1, no board does not mean nothing is going on.
This
deck is perfectly capable of just going 1 mana, unearth your Academy Manufactor, 2 mana, Time Sieve, Cookbook, play, get 3 artifacts, take an extra turn after this one, rinse and repeat.
We have Prismatic Ending, exiling the Darcy, but leaving the Cookbook on the board.
Yeah, so the Cookbook on the board is
probably nothing
much for the Murktide player, but can be, for example, bounced or something to your own hand if you're playing the Asmo Food. And Tainted Indulgence will definitely help you with this. So draw 2, discard 1. What is going on? Where are we in the turn order? Let's see.
There seems to be some kind of discussion above the camera between the players.
Oh, they're reading Prize Amalgam.
They're reading Prize Amalgam.
Yeah, we have our local judge here at the table, so...
The handsome man, you mean?
Yeah, it is always good to be sure and ask your judge if you're unfamiliar or uncertain with the interactions of cards, especially in a card pool as big as Modern, where weird interactions lead to weird board states. So, draw card, full grip. There is an Emry, I do believe, in the hand of the Asmo Food player, but also like 7 cards more. Time Sieve.
Time Sieve, just a bare, naked Time Sieve being played.
Okay, and this is actually, I would say this is a great play because you know that Time Sieve warrants counterspell or removal. But also, a naked Time Sieve will probably not be as enticing to counter as a Time Sieve with several artifacts on the board.
Indeed.
And if you just let it there and let it simmer for 2 or 3 turns, it will produce its magic.
That is an interesting variation. Though, if you are playing a deck that can remove Time Sieve only by countering it, I would recommend just countering the Time Sieve.
Yeah, definitely. But I do believe there is a Hercules recall in the hands of the Murktide player. But I see a glaring problem from this, and that is no pressure.
No pressure.
So, Ovalchase Daredevil, unusual sighting as a 4-2 beater on an empty board, but there is the Bird Advisor. And Ledger Shredder is a Bird Advisor.
Yeah, and the dead Ovalchase. That can come back into the hand right now.
Yeah, right now. Oh, maybe missed trigger.
Missed.
Okay, connive. Let's see if now they will remember the trigger. You still have the opportunity to not miss a trigger up until the point where you would take another action. So connive happens first, then this comes in, and now.
And there we go. Okay. There we go. Okay, good.
So the first one was missed. Yeah, they're explaining it now. The first one was missed because Academy Manufactor is actually an artifact, and it would trigger, but doesn't matter. Here was the cookbook. Now, do we get... Yes, we do. We get food, clue, and treasure. This is not infinite, but it's getting there.
It's quite close.
Yeah. And this is the Hercules recall. Sure. Let me crack my clue by the virtue of my treasure token, draw a card. I will get mine and this cookbook into my hand. Thank you very much for keeping it there. And
next turn there is definitely a setup for going infinite.
Yeah. So there is another Ledger Shredder. There is no hand from the Murktide player, and
which is great.
Yeah, which is great. Whether there's bone shards or something similar. Also, I don't believe this is necessary because they have no hand, but it doesn't matter.
It's a cute play. Cutesy play.
Yeah. So one down. A cookbook probably gets your Ovalchase Daredevil back to your hand. connive because this is the second spell. Would you mind drawing and discarding the same card? Yeah, okay.
And
it's a land. That's fine. Ovalchase Daredevil comes back into the hand, and I am getting tired only narrating this. And this is important because we have a lot of moving pieces.
Okay, and there we have the first cookbook doing stuff, then the second cookbook doing stuff.
Yeah.
There is no mana for Time Sieve this turn, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but the Asma Food player is at 11 life. That's fine. They will not die this turn because there is only the Ledger Shredder in action.
Mm-hmm.
But if there is a Time Sieve, let's kill your Academy Manufactor. This is fine. It gets them still, alive and kicking.
Mm-hmm.
But one Unearth or another Academy Manufactor, and we are done. So
this is a setup.
Yes. They know about the Time Sieve because it was bounced to their hand. They're empty-handed, and now they will discard the Ovalchase Daredevil twice, make 6 artifacts a turn, take all the turns in the world and win somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Be it by the hands of the 1/3 Academy Manufacturer, clogging in 15 times, or anything else, does not matter. The game goes 2-0 to the Asma Food player. I will say this is probably due to the inexperience with playing against this deck.
Probably. Hercule's Recall, quite debatable whether it's a good card to board in against this deck. It sounds good, but
it's a tempo play. Definitely.
It's a tempo play, and usually you can do a lot of your sacrificing in response to the card, so I'm not convinced by the card. Engineered Explosives, they proved good.
Excellent.
They proved good. It bought a lot of turns to the player, to the Murktide. Unfortunately, there was no pressure, just like you mentioned.
Yeah, one Murktide gets this play all upside down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But this is all for this game. Thank you all for watching, and I hope we will see you soon.
And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, comment down below if you like our content or not. It's great to be back, and hope to talk with you more.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.